Welcome, everyone, to episode 275 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pantellaresco. I write stuff in podcast 2. Today, Konn Lavery returns to the podcast. We did have a cool little conversation here. We literally chat from one restaurant to a coffee shop, and there's a little bit that's in here. It was a very cool conversation just to catch up with him, with everything he's doing, everything he's working on. Konn's a one-of-a-kind talent, and it's always a pleasure to have him on the show. I've been in this early mood this weekend. I just literally just have been in a bit of a odd funk. Like I said, just one of those weekends you just wake up to and you go bleh. But I got some cool people cheer me up. Miranda Crockstead being one of them. Miranda's got a really cool event this week. Why We Tell Stories. It's taking place this Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm going to try to wrangle my way in to go see the show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but if I can't, you should definitely check it out. Miranda is an incredible performer, an incredible storyteller, and this is what she's been working on literally for the last 10 months. It's kind of cool to actually see that come to fruition. So I'm hoping to be there, but if I'm not there, you should go. Beyond that, it's just been kind of cool. This is the week everything kind of begins. The transfers are all in, so I won't hear anything till August, one way or the other. I'll start hearing stuff, but I'm working on my resume right now, and I'm literally starting to look abroad. I'm kind of excited about that. A little scared. Good scared, but a little scared. But, I mean, I'm ready to do this. But, anyway, we'll talk more a little bit about that throughout the weeks to come, I'm sure. Let's get to our conversation with Konn, shall we? Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint brings your creations to life. They believe in indies helping indies, and they have been known to contribute to everything from game jams to NaNoWriMo and everything in between. As a creator, you just bring your work to them, whether you're a writer, musician, or video game designer, or whatever the case may be, and they'll help you format, proof, and distribute your project to a variety of different avenues. For more information, check them out at info@indieimprint.com. And by Jennifer Ron, author. Jennifer is re-releasing her fantasy series Legend of Tenlock with her first book, Wicked Initiations, coming out when words collide. She's also been released a Dark Hoarder, courtesy of Bundarin Press. You can contact her at longevitithesis.ca. That is worldwideweb.longevitithesis.ca. We'll just continue from what we were talking about here. So,
okay.
like in terms of like screenplays and comics, right?
Yeah.
So, Terry Moore's a good example of it. Mr. Miracle by Tom King, and
I know that, yeah.
Similar. Like, you notice how it's all the same grid stuff, right?
Yeah, it is kind of a storyboard then.
Yeah. It's a giant story. It's a giant storyboard on like that's what Tom King and Gerard did for Mr. Miracle. It works really, really, really well.
Yeah.
But it also now feels like you could make that a cinematic movie or television series.
Yeah, that is your storyboard.
Yeah.
Just about.
That's my point, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you look at comics like that. Another really good example is American Flag. This is an oldie.
Yeah.
So you look at, so 1986 was the year of Watchmen, was the year of Dark Knight Returns, but the third one is American Flag.
Okay.
As a designer, I think, would get a kick out of it. Oh, no, he has like these insane grids in there. Like, they're nuts.
I love grids.
It's Howard Chaykin's. Look up American Flag.
Yeah.
It's FLAGG.
Okay.
It's the third book of comics in that era that no one talks about that's really, really damn good.
Okay, I'll check it out because it'll be something like.
You'll look at that, you'd be like.
Actually, I'm gonna put it on my phone.
Yes.
So when I open it, I'll see it. American Flag with the double G.
Yes. You'll look it up.
Alright.
So, that's right. We've been talking for about 40 minutes prior to this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. So, you'll see the American Flag graphic novel. So he's Googling it right now.
American Flag?
Yeah.
One. There we are.
Yes. That book.
That's the one?
That's the one.
All right.
Yeah, that's the one you will look at and go, mind blown.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I will do that.
Yeah, so like the 1986 era comics, like that's number 3. Like Watchmen's the one everybody knows about.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns is the second one everyone knows about, right?
Yeah.
But that's 3. Like all 3 of them showed in comics exactly what's possible in the medium. Yeah.
Okay, I'll totally check it out.
Yeah.
Don't look at comics enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because you design all the time.
I know. I used to. I used to be really into them, but then I got out of them probably around 12, 13. I was like, you know what? I couldn't quite get the stories I wanted to tell through it because I was trying to figure out how to draw still. I was trying to figure out how to write still, and the two just kind of took separate directions where the drawing evolved more into graphic design work and less illustrative, and then the writing took on the whole literary direction.
So you want an exercise in laziness and futility?
Yes.
Okay, Jonathan Hickman. There's one comic he did. He literally ended the thing in flow charts.
Just did it actually work in the story?
Ish. Ish.
Yeah.
We'll say ish.
Ish. Okay.
Yeah, you can tell. Okay, this is what I've learned as a creator.
Yeah.
You can tell when someone's trying to be brilliant.
Yeah.
You can tell when someone's being lazy.
Yes.
And you can tell when someone's being both.
Yeah, brilliantly lazy. Yeah.
Yes, that's what that is.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, but
Cool.
again, from a design, but I will say this for him. He is an amazing designer. He uses a lot of chaps, but sometimes he'll do it in a different, like grids and stuff like that, in really creative ways. Like he shows how presentation models and comics do work incredibly well together. And I think his book, the book I always enjoy, my favorite of his is there's 2 of them. The West Wing, which is the example of the brilliantly lazy.
Yeah.
And also, but his best work in my opinion, still in a lot of ways, is still his first one, which is the Nightly News.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it shows you just what is possible. I'm giving you lots of reading material.
Yeah. Shit, no kidding.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna have to totally. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, for me, like my limited design background is magazine design.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's my limited design background. So, and again, good design by its very nature is invisible.
Yeah.
Usually, right? If you don't, it's like, hey, this is good design. Not many people actually do that. If they look at it, does it work? Does it visually please? It's all subconscious.
It is, and that's the fun thing about design and why I love it so much. Like, and when you start getting into the industry, you look at like everything different because you understand a bit of the theory, which applies to everything from interior design, graphic design, engineering. Like, it's everywhere. Like, why is this table red that we're on? Why are the cups shaped this way? And then why is the logo for that coffee cup that guy? And you can keep digging further and further, and that plays off of negative space, which is really cool with the shadows and the light. So it goes so deep, and it ties into photography. Like, the more you get into graphic design, it's in everything. And I've even found the creative process with graphic design has transferred into other mediums that I've worked on.
Oh yeah.
Like writing and just this process of elimination where with design you start with a bunch of thumb sketches, take it to the next level, and then eventually you get something refined that you can compare like 2 or 3. And I find that's the same with writing, like coming up with premises and outlines and stuff.
Well, I also think though, like me personally, like the book is a largely untapped design space.
Yeah.
It's a largely untapped one because when you look at it, it's like, okay, I look at something like IQ84, right? He has like these like, or actually an even more fun example, Artemis Fowl.
Oh.
So Artemis Fowl has like this little code throughout the entire book underneath.
Oh.
You can actually decode it.
Oh, neat.
Right?
Yeah.
And I love this about YA in particular. YA is not afraid to experiment within the confines of what is possible in the book.
Yeah.
Whereas a more traditional novel doesn't really, it's very conservative in terms of how they present a story.
Which isn't fun.
Well, Well, it's a missed. I think in a lot of cases it's a missed opportunity.
Yes.
Because there are you can if you do it correctly. Like like we were talking about my Cloud Diver novel.
Yeah.
I wanted it to feel like a video game, but a couple other things I've added to it. Like there's a social media feed in the story.
Yeah.
So you get this sense of what's going on in the world without actually. It's also me getting around. Because I built the world literally around the perceptions of one character.
Yeah.
It's my way of getting around the limitations that comes with.
Yeah.
Right.
You got the social feed, right?
Yeah, you got the social feed, and if you're smart, you'll catch the stuff that applies to what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I'll grab yours.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did something similar with Seed Me, the novel. It's their characters texted each other back and forth.
Yes.
So it's so fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's also like there's Gemini by Christoph and Kaufman. I love that book in terms of just how it's designed. It's one of the most. It's very intricate. It's a very intricately designed book, and I'm like, I wish more books were that bold because it'd be neat to see, right?
Yeah.
I would love it, like in theory, I would love it in a perfect world if I had the money. The Cloud Diver would be in those old Nintendo style cartridges.
Oh yeah, right.
Right, you know what I'm talking about, like the actual box with the like, it would have an instruction manual. You would have like a mock instruction manual.
Yeah. Oh, I think it'd be really cool.
But I would love that. Like, and what I would do is like each book would be a different console. So one would be a Nintendo. The next one would be Super Nintendo because that's a cool system.
Yeah.
Might do a Sega. I might do a Genesis. I might.
I like it.
Yeah,
Genesis is cool.
Genesis was the sports game, totally the sort. Like the NHL games were always what I remember about the Genesis.
Yeah.
93 or 94.
I played 93. That was the one I played.
Yeah. The Mr. Wraparound trick all the time.
Yeah. That was good. Like I remember I bought it from Blockbuster when they closed down.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you want to keep doing it outside?
Yeah, we can do
They've got a bit of a lineup.
Yeah.
Keep them held up. I also did like the Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, no, everybody loved Mortal Kombat. Said those secret blood codes, like yes, this is my arcade game. That's right. We were violent savages in our youth. What can I say?
Oh yeah.
What can I say? But anyway,
They get busy there, but it's like my favorite place to go.
Well, it's good. I've done interviews in that too.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna grab a coffee there because I still need to wake up.
No, I understand. You got a big day ahead of you. HorrorCon.
Yeah, HorrorCon. It's still my favorite convention because everyone's so relaxed.
Really? Wow. See, for me, it's the one Calgary convention I've never done because none of my books quite fit that theme.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sci-fi fantasy guy with that. Literally, my unicorns talk and wingdings. There's nothing scary about a unicorn talking and wingdings.
No. And for HorrorCon, they want the gore.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Well, although I gotta say, this is such an oxymoron to me. Horror people are like the sweetest people ever.
I know. They're so nice.
Yes.
I always find them just super polite.
Yeah. Well, they're sweet. Like you. I mean, once you ever I've said this on I've dated someone. It's like, what do you prefer, flowers or skulls? And they're like skulls, especially like the horror.
Oh yeah.
The horror genre, right? But which always comes across as strange to me. But then I'm like, well, whatever. I mean, that's the worst thing I can say about somebody.
Yeah. No, they're always the nicest ones. Like that's my girlfriend's a huge nerd when it comes to horror, and she's sweet. And so
I think what it is. Oh yes, excellent. My unicorn pen.
Hey.
Yes. Didn't realize I had it in there. It's good. But no, it's one of those things where I realize. I think what happens is horror people are really good at getting their aggressions out.
Yes.
In constructive ways.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Right. And so what happens is they're nice because it's like all that other stuff.
It's an outlet.
Yeah.
You get it out, and that's always been, especially with writing and drawing. Like a lot of my more personal stuff, like writing and my own design, ends up being pretty creepy stuff. Even though my graphic design's pretty corporate, but then I go and write a scary story, or I turn on my drum machine and play my bass guitar and make angry noise, because along those horror realms.
I totally. So I have a completely interesting impression of you now. You remind me, I can see it. Like you're that amazing metal kid that just really that loves using the traditional building blocks, but has fun with it.
Yeah, I totally have fun. Yeah. It's great. I love. Honestly, I just want to play.
Yes.
Yeah. As an adult and as a kid, I just wanted to play, and I'm still doing that with writing, with music, and when I do graphic design.
Well, yeah, no, that's not a bad way to be. Like if it's not fun for you, you're not gonna people will notice.
Oh yeah, they will, and then it comes off fake. Hi.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Can I get a Americano?
Yeah, what's that?
Let's do a medium.
Are we staying or go?
I'll have it in a to-go cup. And are you good? Or
I'm good for the moment.
Okay, cool.
I'm good for the moment. We can sit down somewhere here and finish the interview. That way.
Are you going medium?
Let's do room. Could I have a cup?
Yeah, do you want the item?
Probably.
Is it for adult stuff?
Yeah, taxes and stuff.
And you want the
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Let's go. I guess here.
Right here?
Yeah, here. Wherever you want, man. Is that okay? So I got a really cool compliment from a comic creator in the States. He listens to my podcast. He's like, oh my god, you leave all this excess stuff in there where it's like it's so cool because I keep you notice a lot of my interviews. I keep a lot of
It's real. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because I've listened to some of yours and it's like, oh yeah, they're out doing stuff.
It's real, right? I've tried again. I don't want to edit it. There's only one interview I've ever really had to seriously edit, and that was because I would get sued.
Oh, really?
Well, there was an interview. I'm not sure, it's in the archive right now that I literally had to cut 8 minutes out not because I wanted to, but it's if they listen to this, I might have to deal with the lawyer because it would be my fault.
Like music or something?
No, it was not music.
Something else. Okay.
No, because again, I don't sell anything on there for profit outside of whatever. It doesn't impact me that way. So long story short, we were interrupted in an interview by somebody who just came up and was talking about because I was at Creative Inc. There's also an insurance convention going on. So one of the people there has a day job as an insurance for their rival. So I learned a lot. So I learned a lot about that insurance company.
Yeah.
That I can't I couldn't. It's like they have deeper pockets than I do.
But that stuff it comes down to who's the best lawyers.
Yeah. So it's like they have deep.
Oh, is it? Sure.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
No worries. Right. So it's just one of those things where I just that's the only time I will edit something. So will that hurt my pocket? Yes, it will. So I'll run from that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just let it go. Yeah. It's real.
I think I appreciate that because then it comes across as an actual discussion. Yeah, not I've seen, and not to criticize other podcasts, but they want it to seem like a natural discussion, but you can tell it gets edited, and it's like the natural flow that would go in a normal talk is gone because they're trying to keep it to the good parts, but make it appear like they're just talking. Yeah,
where reality is I will cut it sometimes. Yeah. But it's not
nothing ridiculous.
More bare bones, bare minimum. That's how it goes. But people seem to think it's good. So.
I think so. Yeah.
But going back, you're the person I wanted to. So what was fun for you way back in the day? We were talking Mortal Kombat
stuff. Yeah. We're talking before. There were the comics. Comics were a thing, but then that didn't go too far. And oddly enough, I started a lot of my creative adventures through board gaming. At the time, as growing up, my folks they limited our time on the computer, and this was back when there was modem dial-up. So there was we had a couple computers, but because my dad worked at Future Shop, but we weren't allowed to play video games for very long. So I always wanted to play them. So I tried to mimic Warcraft 2 in a board game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did this whole grid thing, and I sculpted these really crappy little clay figures that
You still got them?
No, they started to fall apart because I didn't know how to take care of them.
No,
They died and crippled.
Yeah, no, I guess
I wanted to.
Yeah,
I still have a board game. It was the very last board game I made, and I'll explain that one. But this all started back here when I made this board game that was originally a mirror of Warcraft. There were the humans. There were 2 humans. It started as a 3-player game. 2 humans and then the orcs and trolls. But I started to write backstories as I was writing the manuals for them because I wanted friends and family to play with me. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta make rules. I can't just tell them everything. So then I wanted to make all the different backstories so the different players had their own, they had a bigger purpose. But I started to just keep writing and writing.
Yes.
And then I started doing less about the rules and more about the story. And then that evolved more into doing the comics and ultimately the first thing I ever wrote, and it was a really terrible that'll never see the light of day.
So I'll tell you my really terrible thing I wrote.
Yeah.
When I was 8 years old, I had this really cool idea about dolphins saving the world. So here is my
dolphin saves the world.
That sounds like awesome for like 8.
Yeah.
But I made this silly mistake. I decided they would talk like dolphins. Now you don't know.
No.
It seemed like a good. I was 8.
Yeah.
I was 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Seemed like a good idea in my head until you read it out loud.
Yeah.
So if I can find that story, So Craving has this thing where you read really bad stories.
Yeah.
I will find really terrible Kung Fu translation music.
Oh.
I will read it.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll do Kung Fu translation. So I'll start doing I'll do the
Dolphin sounds?
No, I'll have dolphin sounds in the background, and I'll
Okay.
do like the Kung Fu voice.
Oh. Jeez.
Because if you're gonna be bad,
Yeah.
gotta be all the way
Yeah,
bad,
yeah.
right?
No one half-asses it.
No, absolutely not. Jonas Saul was reading it was like one of his early stuff, and you saw it was uncomfortable because he knew it was bad. He was editing it as he was going up there. I told him afterwards, you should have just owned it. Like if you had owned it up there, man, you'd have been like the man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because the person that followed him, she owned it. She read it like. She wrote like at 12 and she read like she was 12 and it was like that is awesome.
Yeah.
It is so bad but so good at the same time.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That was the thing at Creative Inc., right? So it's like it's so I think when you're younger, when you're talking about like you gotta let yourself be okay to be crappy.
Yeah, and at that time I don't think I cared nor knew the difference between crappy and good.
Yeah.
I just kind of I drew the covers for these manuals, I wrote them all, and then made this shitty little clay guys. And I didn't care. I just was playing. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then now as you get older, you learn theory and different methods of doing a project or a creative direction. But you always have to remember to let yourself make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's part of the creative process, and it's a reminder of what's fun.
Also, sometimes the best things happen by accident.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you stumble onto a good idea. Now it might be terrible in the execution right at this moment, but you're like, this idea is not terrible.
Yeah, there's something here.
Yeah.
It just needs a little more polishing, and you just have to keep plugging away at it.
Yeah, so there's that. Although there is something to be said about that 12-year-old. Because you don't know the difference between good and bad, you're a lot more you're a lot bolder when you're younger.
You make some ballsy moves, and
sometimes you can't duplicate that. You're older. You're like, I just don't have this anymore, and I wish I had a little bit of that sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It makes a statement in a good way.
It does, and no, totally, and that's where you get some of these younger people in different art forms that'll actually push the industry forward, and they come out of nowhere. It's just because they were bold enough to make that move.
Yeah.
Where experienced people obviously do amazing stuff because they have decades of knowledge and they know how to execute something really good quicker. Where we're young, we fumble around a lot, but and more often than not, it doesn't go anywhere, and you need to make those bad eggs to learn and refine your ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's all just part of the journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what was the best accent you've ever created?
Best is in, we have to define best.
No, like what was the one thing that you could, this was really cool? Like, it was really cool.
Okay.
You can go the other way too if you want.
Okay. Well, the thing that was really cool was all of this stuff led to high school when I came up with the very first draft of Mental Damnation, and I had originally sent it off to some publishers because like I had written it, and just being an angsty teen, I was like, this is it. This is the best thing. Yeah, I'm going to submit it, and I'm not going to have to go to college. I'm just going to get this, and I'm going to make a lot of money. And obviously, those are all the wrong ideas when you're getting into the writing industry.
Hey.
Yeah. So I sent it to like 5 publishers, heard back from one. It was a great rejection letter. They're like, yeah, there's a good premise here, and it's just not our genre, so keep looking. And I just took it to heart for no reason. So that's when I kind of put the writing on the back burner. But ultimately that evolved into me self-publishing the fantasy series. And further down the road, when I became more mature, hired my own editor twice actually for the first and second editions, and actually got to do all the formatting, print, cover design, and everything because of the graphic design background I went to school for after I got rejected that first time. So it all kind of played together, and the Mental Damnation series was my initial piggyback, or like my initial leap into the writing industry. Like,
Yeah.
So I owe a lot to that book.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you're doing another series?
I want to wrap up the fantasy series at 12 years later, and I'm working on it. It's I'm about halfway through it now, of the first draft, experimenting with speech to text for the first time.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's been a fun process because it's you're not worried about, you're thinking, the whole process is different, and I've actually managed to write faster through talking.
Well, the big advantage is, so one of the best ways to edit yourself is to read your stuff out loud. If
Yes.
it doesn't sound right,
It's
you
not
find,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you speak, like speech to talk, although there are definitely some flaws because it doesn't
Totally.
quite work.
As you as a person, right?
You're right,
Talking,
but you don't have to worry about that problem at all.
And I find dialogue's easier. Like you
Yeah.
almost start acting it out a little bit. So like when a character sighs, I'm like, why'd you do that? And then like you get into the role a little bit. So you're more engaged with it.
I don't have that problem. Right? Because I am totally a comic junkie, right?
Yeah.
So comics you have to figure out your speeches and bubbles.
Yes,
So if
yep.
nothing else, you learn brevity, which actually sounds very natural when you read it.
Yeah, and dialogue needs to.
Yeah. You don't do this long process.
No.
And sometimes you don't talk like you do in real life. Sometimes it's a mistake. Like Brad Meltzer has a really good story. Like when he wrote his first novel, he said, "I'm going to talk exactly how like people talk." So that was He goes. He ended up giving it to a friend. The friend read it. It's like, but no. But it was honest. No one wants to read that.
Yeah.
Right? No one wants to read that. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Good. You? Good.
Yeah.
They're like, no, that doesn't sound great.
No, that's not fun at all. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, and it takes learning to go through that with dialogue, and I think dialogue is one of the more difficult parts of it. Other authors obviously have different difficulties where they're really good at that, but can't get the narration down right, or the descriptions or something.
For me, it's descriptions, because it's easy for me to get caught in my head about what I see and getting it all out there.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm trying is, I'm trying to make that a game. Like what I find is I make it a game, it's easier to bring it out. Yeah. Right? Dialogue for me is a game, because it's about how can I convey the most information with the least amount of words. Yeah. That's what dialogue is.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's true, because when we're talking, we're not elaborating for 10 minutes about the details of how something works. We're talking, and you just quickly get the idea.
But narration, like something I'm looking at, there's a story in narration too, right? There's a story about it. There's a structure. For example, we're in a Good Earth Cafe. They have literally currently an espresso machine completely done by words behind us.
See, that's fun design.
Yeah, it's really fun design, right? It's really, really fun design. Yeah. But if I were to describe it, now can I make this a game, right? Like maybe like that's a game. If you look at how that design is, it's designed completely like, you can almost look at it like a poem. Yeah. Bum 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 all the way down, right? Yeah. So I can almost describe that as a music. Like I could go espresso machine as a musical song.
Yeah.
You could, it would work because again, it has almost a poetic echo in terms of if you look at
The way it goes down.
Yeah.
No, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Right. And if I play the game like a music, like as I'm from a musical point of view.
Yeah.
Suddenly now you have a description that's fun.
That's a good way to put it, because like there's the people that get stuck with descriptions where every sentence is the same kind of pacing, but describing it as music has mountains and peaks, so it's you increase your sentences, decrease them, add commas, and so it's reading. It's like that's a great analogy.
Well, that's what it is. Like you have to treat it like it's its own story. And it has its own rules.
Story within the story.
Well, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Everything like great stories have lots of nuance.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it, like there's layers in everything.
And that's why books take a time, because like you go the first bit you get like the book out, but then as you revise it you can add those layers on and create that depth, and that's part of the fun. You get that rush because sometimes you don't even know what those layers are, I find. As you're reading through the book, you kind of pick up on where you can add these extra little tidbits.
Well, there are, so Konn Lavery 2, which is probably going to be the most difficult book in the series for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm dealing with something I don't know very much about, which is it's not a trans novel, but it has trans themes in it.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. I'm clueless, and I'm not in like an evil, malicious way. I just it's not a world I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
I'm talking to somebody that defended the first trans case, and they were based out of Vancouver. I met them there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Just as background more than anything else.
Yeah.
But also, I'm looking at because the nature of that story when it deals with genetic perfection and everything like that.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm dealing with in the next book is genetic experimentation. So there definitely would be
That's cool. Oh yeah, there's gonna be all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, and some of it is really like one character. I literally call him hate music. Right. Every time he walks, you can actually hear angry rap music with him. Right.
That's fun.
Yeah. You're right. It's based off. It's literally based off somebody I met in real life.
Cool.
On my day job, he would play like the angriest music ever while he was unloading trucks, and I'm just like, and it's like, and he had this like foul look on his face at all times.
Oh boy.
So I'm like, you're a character. You're a real character.
You're one of a kind.
Yes, right. So I'm going to use you. I'm going to because again, the best stuff is real life, right?
Yeah.
So that's what.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the kind of characters.
But again, someone that experimented, that literally wanted to turn himself into a living, breathing receiver.
Yeah.
For music.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Essentially, yeah. He had something that he wanted. He had to get out.
Yeah, and so and that's the origin of hate music.
Music and I like it.
Yeah, but I mean I'm playing with that stuff, which I can have fun with too a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm also dealing with like this really serious, like we're dealing with people that are transforming themselves.
Yeah.
And and especially as kind of time goes on, we live in a world like legitimately where you can become anything you want to be.
Yeah.
Right? And that's becoming more and more true each and every day.
Oh yeah.
So what is that going to look like?
It's going to create a lot of new problems that I don't think we could have ever imagined, and it's going to open a lot of new doors that we also didn't think were possible.
Well, and that's the thing. The next book. So I'm research like that book is going to take more research than I thought.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not even though it's mostly just going to be background.
Yeah, but that's good to know. And have you looked into the CRISPR stuff?
Not yet.
That's so fascinating. I love the CRISPR stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's scary.
Yeah.
Gene editing.
Oh, a little bit. A little bit. I'm looked at it from a nanotechnology perspective.
Yeah.
That is scary shit.
Yeah.
That is scary shit.
Oh, did you see the chicken they managed to give teeth to?
Yes.
Yeah. Like holy crap.
Well, I mean, but no, for me, it's even like more insidious. Like we have lots of nano in the air we have now, right? In 2013, they figured out that I actually can go into a human body and replicate.
The air?
Well, the nanoparticles that they've like the nano silvers, nano golds, all that stuff they put out there.
Yeah.
In 2013, they figured out it could actually go inside a human body. So I mean, there's some scary for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So like, I'm looking at that as well.
Okay.
Right. It's we live in an interesting time.
I think it's the best time to be alive. Just like for the last book I wrote, which took place in the 1890s, which was that Rutherford Manor series. That time era sucked. They didn't know what bacteria was. We had very little medical understanding because doctors couldn't just open up corpses because you couldn't donate bodies to the medical industry. So like that, I wouldn't want to be alive even 100 years ago. Like we're in the best time to be alive because like things are moving forward. There are, in theory, yes, there are more people dying, but there are a lot more people. The percentage is lower, and it's a weird way to kind of look at the numbers that way. But we're doing a lot better than we did.
I look at today's time, and it's like it's our, depending on how you look at it, our third or fourth Renaissance.
Yes.
Right. Depending on how you look at it. The previous one was in the 1930s. The Great Depression era, because that's when the Tesla stuff was going on. That's when Roy Reimer was doing some really cool medical stuff. That was when Henry Ford was doing his thing.
That was a big shift.
That was a big shift in the 30s.
Yeah.
Prior to that, there's the Renaissance itself, which was when the printing press came out.
Oh yeah.
Right, and then there's also the ancient Greeks. Right.
Yeah, they were brilliant, but kind of wacky.
Well, so are we. Yeah, I mean, if you sit there and think about that, so are we, right?
I don't remember where I heard it, but like, those, as you were saying, Renaissance, there are, I guess, these periods of where things do start to get socially out of control, where you start to see the end, not to be a doomsday sayer, but you start to see the end of a civilization's period. Not that means that everything's going to turn to dust, but we're going to ride this wave, and then eventually it's going to do a complete switch.
Well, we talked about this off the air, about how power dictates, and by power I mean power sources, dictates how a civilization thrives and functions.
Yeah.
Ours is oil.
Yep.
Now, if you're doing the math, ladies and gentlemen, about 100 years ago, 1 barrel of oil gets you 100 barrels of oil from the ground.
Yeah.
Today, it's at 5.
Yeah.
So that's still abundant. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but we're getting close.
Now eventually we're going to get to 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And when we get to 1-to-1, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a problem. And we're seeing the attempts to better sources of energy for power. Obviously, everyone knows Elon Musk, and then there's the solar, and then there's the wind. But then there's been controversial studies about wind and solar for like pollution, and like no one's got a solution yet, but it'll come. I think the solution will happen.
Well, it depends how you look at it. Yeah, right. I look at it like this. Most of the time, the answers are right in front of us.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. It's just about imagination. For example, right around us right now, there are billions upon billions of cells that are going all these little interactions all the time.
Yeah, that we are not aware of.
Now, just imagine, not stop it, but we could tap into just 1% of that. Okay? Those interactions that are all around us that we don't see and record, all these electrostatic things that are in the air.
Yeah.
We'd have all the power we need.
Yeah.
I'm just right, and and these are real things that happen around us all the time.
Yeah, because they're trying to, I don't remember where it's located by that particle collider. They're building a bigger one.
Yes.
And it gets into that realm because you're dealing with small things and figuring out how those small things, when thrown at each other really fast, they generate amazing energy. Intense amounts of energy.
Absolutely.
And that's going that route.
Well, again, going back to the nano thing, we're getting smaller in our technology.
We are.
Right?
Yes.
We're really, really small. Like, we're not even beyond nano into pico, which is like we're coming into like.
Pico. Yeah, that is small.
That's very, very small. Yeah.
You don't hear that often, but it might become the next thing because atom was the thing. Those atoms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the point where it gets to just quantum, and we can't.
I'm a huge nerd when it comes to quantum stuff. Like all of the recent amazing things we learned about the black hole, it's made so many crazy theories popping out because we have managed to grab, like, what was it? It was like 1,000 terabytes of data for that one photo. So we know so much than we've ever known about black holes, and it teaches us about quantums and where we might come from. And we're making steps forward in all of it. And I think I'm optimistic.
I'm a bit of both. I look at the reality that usually, and this is the sad part, all this stuff is usually developed as some sort of weapon first and foremost.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
It's always all of our technology, like as bad as it was, a lot of our medical advancements came from the Nazis.
Yep, it's true.
But now we're saving, probably my dad's life's been saved multiple times, like for certain types of technologies. Like
So I mean, here's the thing, right? I think of Einstein.
Yeah,
I don't know the weapons of World War III, but I do know the weapons of World War IV, sticks and stones. There is a little part of me that is a little worried about that.
If we get to that point, well, yeah, we are at the point where...
I mean, there is that risk. I'm not going to say that it's a surety we go down that path, but some things we can do today are, like I said, are scary. Like, legitimately are scary.
I think we're wiser, and the next phase of a world war is we're in the privacy cyber wars a bit. We're seeing a lot of that happening, and there are tactical war strategies happening, like even with the American election, with the way they managed to control Facebook ads through a third party. There's a whole Joe Rogan podcast that goes down this route about weaponizing the digital realm. That's where we're going.
No, absolutely. So that path is inevitable because we have psychopaths and TARS. Totally. But on the flip side, like there's always, like, going back to accents, there's always good things that come out of this stuff too. There's always good things that come out of this stuff, and so we live in a time where we can go, I think, either way. We can become this amazing, wonderful. I always think like the really best stuff and the really worst stuff are a step away. Like literally one step to the left, we can go the terrible. One step to the right, we're awesome. And then there's somewhere in the middle where it just tends to be the path we go on.
Yes, a bit of good, bit of bad, bit of good.
And that's what I mean, and that's what I see. Now the question is, will it be bearable? Will we be able to work it? That's the mystery. That's the mystery of tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
But I'm also, again, I'm not. How to put this? I'm not blind, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing. It's like I can see where this could be a bad thing. I can see where this can be a great thing.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And I see a lot of terrible, obviously, things are happening all the time, and it could totally go super south super soon. But I don't think. I guess I'm just optimistic for seeing how resilient we are throughout human history, and we somehow keep moving forward as a species.
Absolutely. Oh no, like I said, I believe that will be the inevitable result.
Yeah.
How we get there is going to be the question.
Yeah. How long do we really last? Because like on the big picture of things, eventually the sun's going to consume Earth, and then where that's going to go.
Well, then that's not. Then we know that's not. Then we won't have this problem anymore.
No.
That's how, there's an optimistic point of view. It's like I don't have to worry about it anymore at that point.
Yeah, no one will. And like, will we even live that long?
Yeah. Or maybe like we were talking about off the air. Maybe they figure out a way to restore the sun.
Yeah.
Like, but you're right. I mean, there's no rule that says like these things are challenges, not necessarily like the end all be all obstacle.
And there's the possibility, which is a fun philosophical concept, is what comes after humans. Maybe we don't actually die, but we evolve into the next thing rapidly due to technology and the modifications we're making, and potentially is technology the next natural step of human evolution to being the next species, and not so much about a biological evolution change point, but we've modified ourselves with nanotechnology, maybe some cyborg ability, like additions.
That's I think a better conversation that we could have on my podcast. But I guess the question then is this: how far can you go and still be human?
And that's it. Maybe if you did all these things, are there a human element? If you're faster, you're smarter, you have better strength, maybe these future ones would be able to breathe in like low air atmosphere and can survive on Mars or something, and they might not be human anymore.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also maybe here's the flip side. I'm not sure I want to live forever. You know what I mean? And that, and I'm not sure. Like, look at me personally, and maybe just because I'm older and I'm an older fogey. I'm happy with who I am and how I evolve now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure like that path would be for me personally.
No, and how would you really be you if you lived forever? And everyone knows Adam's dying, get blah blah blah. But if you lived forever, and probably be some form of technology that would manage to keep you rejuvenating.
Yeah. Well, as long as there was. I think the ultimate question is, would I love an extra 50 years?
Oh, totally.
Probably.
100,000?
Actually, even 100.
I think it's cool about 100,000.
No, I don't know about. I don't even know about 100.
No, you don't think?
Okay.
I'd like to see 100.
But But okay, an extra. Let's say my lifespan's 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
Let's say again extra 50. That's 130, 140.
Yeah.
That's not okay. You know what? You can do a lot of cool things.
You can see a transition to civilization.
Yeah, that's cool. 190. I don't know.
No, you might get a little bored.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think 50 years is the magic number for me.
Okay.
Right. I think that's the magic number. An extra 50 years sounds nice.
Yeah.
Extra 100. No. Yeah, and that's me. I mean, you might have bigger goals. Like you might want to.
I want to see where this all goes.
Yeah, and that's cool. And so for you, maybe 100's enough. Maybe 200 becomes like that. I don't know.
I think it's like 250.
Yeah.
I think I would have seen enough that I'd start to see some patterns and maybe just start to get bored, and I'd become isolated and disconnected from society because I would not hold the same values that they do, knowing like if you'd lived longer, you wouldn't. Yeah, you just wouldn't care for certain things as much.
The joy would be gone because you've been there before, and there comes a point where you have to wonder what's next.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's kind of like because if you live long enough, you will accumulate all the wealth you can possibly want.
Yep.
If you live long enough, you will just by breathing and existing, you get there. It's really amazing.
And you'd have a different value for human life because you'd have so many friends and whatever die. You would you'd almost treat it like a cat or a dog is going to die before you, even though they're your best friend. You're going to look at people that way. It's like, Joe's getting kind of old. I guess I got to go befriend another human, or maybe you disconnect entirely.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's limits. 50 more years, I could maybe do everything on my crazy list of things I want to do.
Yeah.
At 100, it's like I'd have to come up with another crazy list.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that twice, right? And that's just me. Like that's just me personally. And seeing where it all goes. Now maybe if I was invested in something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's me, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, do I like my kids, your kids, everybody else like that will hopefully live longer than us?
They should.
Yeah, they should.
In theory, where medical sciences are going.
Yeah.
Which raises a whole economical problem. But
maybe. Okay, so here's where I'm optimistic. Okay, so think of it like this. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet right now, or something, give or take. That is 7.5 different perspectives, ideas, and concepts that we are simply not tapping into.
I know, there's so much good stuff out there.
Right? So, somewhere in that 7.5 billion, if we actually were, instead of trying to have this big value of have versus have not, that we were all working together, right? Because you have that much, just think of the raw computing power that is, right? That's insane, right? So, if you have that, what problem couldn't you solve if you worked together? What obstacles wouldn't get in your way? Because eventually, even if you couldn't solve it that day, that much resource pooled together, you'd solve. Like I don't think hunger. I think like even what I've seen with how people are tackling hunger in different parts of the world. Right. I'm not sure it's the problem people may necessarily think it is. That's not saying it's not a serious problem.
That's true.
But I'm just saying that there are some very creative solutions out there.
And
that aren't advertised.
And that is true. And we do make as human beings, we tend to solve problems as they become a problem. We're not very proactive, but when the problem arrives, we're like, oh, we got to get it together.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's it, right?
Let's girlfriend, give me a sec.
No worries.
Hey, you're good. And then,
So we got 10 minutes?
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think. No. We always have been reactionary, which does suck for the people that get screwed over and die.
But the majority of us are not everybody, but yeah, the majority. We are master procrastinators.
Yes, we are. Oh man, like
yeah.
I will if I have too much time, I just tend to be lazy. But if I have a deadline, I can like I can get.
You're like, let's crush this thing.
Yeah. And I'll manage to cram stuff in that could be an 8-hour, like let's say design project, and really push it and do it in like 5 or something. Because like I'm just so honed in and focused. I don't get up, I don't move, and I'm just sketching and then bring it to the computer, do some things and researching, and I can just hammer it out with the deadline. Yeah.
But if you don't have a deadline, you're like, I'm gonna play video games. I'm gonna sit there.
Or dabble, man, mess around. This is why I've never really gone anywhere with like music, and it's just a hobby because there's nothing pushing me. I just mess around with some demos, then I try a new direction and a new style of music, and there is no actual solid foundation or guidelines.
It's an interest, not a passion.
Yeah, I'm just fumbling around.
Yeah, it's an interest, not a passion, right? And but nothing wrong with that.
No, it's fine, and I know the difference with that. Like with that Rutherford book, that was the fastest I've ever written because we wanted it out for June now, which is now, and I had started writing it back in September-ish, lightly, but it was November I hammered that first draft out in NaNoWriMo because I'm like figuring out the months and figuring out how long it takes beta readers to read and how long it would take the editor to edit 60,000 words, and like crunched it all in. I was like, oh shit, I gotta hustle. And I did. I managed to get it done. So
yeah, so Nava talked about off the air that my YA novel, I'm like at like 100,000 words. Like my first draft is
100,000.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I figured.
Nice.
Yeah. My Cloud Diary was written in 3/4 of a notebook.
Yeah.
The first draft of it.
Yeah.
So it ended up on computer being about 49,000 words.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm at a notebook and a quarter right now.
Yeah.
So so it's like.
You doubled it.
Yeah.
And what do YA books run at for word count?
70. This is my Make a Mess draft. Like this is this is the one where I'm gonna be like, this chunk right here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, it's come out relatively easy. Like it really has.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I knew the story's beats from beginning to end just about.
Yeah.
So like when I get to the actually typing it on the computer, I handwrite all this stuff, right? So.
Oh, do you? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just so when I get to the computer, part of this, it's just like, okay, I will read the notebook and go, I like this, and then that's when I kind of do an outline at that point, but not until I let myself make all the messes first.
Yeah, totally. I think it's the best way to do it. Like get messy.
Yeah, just make all the messes first.
Yeah.
If there's ideas you really, really like that are in the messes, you keep those. You try to anyway.
Yeah.
If you may not always be able to. I've learned that you have to, again, the murder your darlings thing is very real.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to get rid of it. It's like, man, I really want
to keep that.
But
I'd say, I'll save this for later.
Yeah.
It's like,
sometimes you can transcribe ideas and scenes and concepts into another story, and when you mash them together, you just get this like bigger, cooler idea.
Well, I wrote a broken novel. It's broken. I screwed up big time with this. But this is one of the best lessons I've ever learned. It's called the immortality syndrome. The idea behind it was a virus that made people live forever.
And they live forever?
They live forever.
Okay.
But the catch is you can't have kids, and every kid under the age of 6 dies.
Oh.
It's really brutal. Like the day of the outbreak is very brutal.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good concept. Why is it broken?
Because I edited the thing to shit. I completely mashed mashed the voice of it, and I also for some. So here's a bad idea, folks. Try to copy another style. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's what I did. That was the other mistake I made with this. But I took the concepts of immortality, something that really works for me.
Yeah, right.
And I like them, and I'm putting them into Cloud Diver too.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not that different from what they're actually doing. And also, I can do one of the more terrifying things I had in the Immortality Syndrome in this book.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have known unless you went through that process and wrote that book.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we all have that broken thing that stays in the cupboard. That's mine.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
Well, I don't think it's broken yet. The slasher that I worked on before the Rutherford, something was wrong with it when I finished it. Like, I liked it, but it felt like it needed more depth, and I just had to put it away. But knowing when I wrote that, understanding that it was lacking this deeper level, in a way really helped me work on the Rutherford book. I was like, all right, I'm going to dig deep into emotions and family bonds and stuff, and that helped. Yeah, because I was like, okay, I know what was wrong in this. I will not do that in this one.
So you were able to tap into you a lot better in this book. I don't see you as a slasher type.
No. Yeah, that's just it. And now that I've had time away from that slasher, I want to go back, fix it, and add those deeper roots, and still keep it in the serial killer being the looming antagonist, but take away some of those cliche slasher elements and really get into those characters. So like when something happens to them, I want people to be sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to make us cry for your slasher.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might actually be good, man.
Yeah, I hope so. And that one, like I said before, when we weren't on the thing or on the podcast there, that's a ways off. That one, it's going to be a real slow burn. I'm gonna let it rest for a while because like next year I still want to get the finally finished Mental Damnation.
Are you happy with it? You're at the end?
I am, and like I've had the actual ending of it in my head for a few years now. So where book 3 ends and where this ends, all I have to do is glue it together. So it's probably been one of the easiest books I've had to work on, but it's a lot of writing because it's kind of it is a full book to get it from here. And
but also continuity must suck sometimes.
Oh yeah, this January I read through them all again because I was like, I don't remember how it happened. So I wrote down and I wrote questions I had for myself. It's like, does this get answered? And then I get to book 2, I was like, oh, it did get answered. And then read through it a little more. It's like, this hasn't been answered yet. So I've had a list of things.
Are you going to answer them all or no?
No, because the end game is to open this up to continue the Mental Damnation series, but this part of the story ends and it opens it up for a new part that is still Mental Damnation in that realm. But I've got so many other writing projects. If I'm inspired to work on it, I will. But it'll be a closed ending with open for spin-offs. So that will be your series you go back to if and or when. Oh, it's so dear to me, right? I totally pulled the Stephen King, or like there are subtle hints in the fantasy series that are linked to Seed Me, and then there's a guest character in Seed Me and Yegman, and even in the slasher. So it's like that you learn if you.
It's your Dark Tower.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a big gap between obviously Mental Damnation and then the modern world where these other books take place. And I do know how that happens, but that's another series. So it's like I don't know what I'll write. Just whatever I really want to get into. Whether it's the spin-off series of Mental Damnation, that gap series.
I get the feeling that's not going to be right away.
That's a slow burn. 20 years.
Maybe less. Yeah. Or when you're ready to say something worthwhile about it.
Yes. Yeah.
Whenever that is.
Yeah, and that's just I've had a story that would be about in modern times that talks about or that pulls in the fantasy. So Hellboy. So it's similar where it's got the fantasy in the real world, that kind of aspect, and I had that story back when I wrote Mental Damnation, so as a teenager, but I haven't been ready to. I don't think I've had the voice to tell that story yet, so it's just been sitting on the back burner.
So I got one of those. So I'll tell you. So I do want. We were talking about Renaissance. I want to do a Renaissance novel.
That'd be cool.
But from 3 different points in history. The Renaissance, the 1930s, and now.
Ooh.
And characters from all 3 points in history.
Cool.
Right, because I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy a good conspiracy buff.
Yeah, me too. I love that stuff.
Yeah. But there are some really interesting truths about all those points in history where they're tied together in interesting ways.
Yeah.
Right, not necessarily Illuminati, but Da Vinci, for example, was part of a society called the Rose Society.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the brilliant thinkers of the 30s were linked together as well.
Yep.
And a lot of the brilliant thinkers today are linked together as well.
Yep. Yeah. They meet once a year or something.
So it's one of those things. It's an interesting thing that we have points in history where these think tanks that shape human history get together. So my concept is, what if there was a grand plan established way back in the Renaissance?
Oh, and it's been linked to these societies. That is a good conspiracy.
Yeah, it's a great one, right?
That's cool.
But there's 2 ends of that. I see it as the classic thing is there's quote unquote the good guy group and there's the bad guy group. Right?
Yeah.
And then they've taken turns shaping history.
Yeah.
The Renaissance, the good guys won.
Okay.
The 30s, the bad guys won.
Interesting. And what is the modern world?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Right? It's the tiebreaker.
Cool.
Because if you look at the 1930s, right, and this is an interesting thing, they had a lot of that would be your girl telling you.
So, hey. I see you. All right. I'll be right in a second. That is my ride.
That is your ride, and I guess
this is good. This is getting good.
Yeah, our time is up, ladies and gentlemen. So, real quick before we go, what's your current book, and where can you get and how to find you?
My current book is The White Hand, a Rutherford Manor novel. It is on Amazon, in ebook and print, and it's also at Audrey's Books in Edmonton. Or you can find what events I'm going to be at on my website at konnlavery.com. That's KONNLAVERY.com. There's events, I sign the books, and that's where you can grab them.
All right. And that was my conversation with Konn Lavery. Konn's always a pleasure to have on the show. Looking forward to his next releases. I've got to get some more of his books. I'm enjoying Mental Damnation. Yeah. Mental Damnation. His series is really fun horror, great design, kind of really cool stuff. I really enjoy it. I'm enjoying it now. You will too. So check them out at konnlavery.com. That will do it for this episode. So to support the podcast, do so a number of different ways. First and foremost, support my sponsors. Jennifer Ron is giving away her book, Wicked Initiations, courtesy of Jennifer Ron. She's relaunching her fantasy series, and that's his book 1, and I will be giving away another book this week. Winners will be contacted tonight, and I will announce them Tuesday on my Facebook page. Same with indieimprint.com. I'm going to be giving away another tag for Giant Bearded Games, and I'll be giving away another Just Alter book this week. And then I'll start changing up the ebooks I'll be giving away from Indie Imprint from this week on. Beyond that, support the podcast by subscribing to it. I'm on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. I'm also on Podomatic. Just subscribe. I'm on YouTube as Joshua Penteloresco. My Facebook page is Joshua Penteloresco, author, podcaster. My Twitter and Instagram is @jpenteloresco. My books, Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God, are available through Mirror World Publishing. Thank you very much for listening. Stay inspired out there. Keep doing you, whatever that is. And I'll see you guys next time.
Josh.